1 Samuel 21. David went to Ahimelech, the priest in Nob. Ahimelech was shaking with fear when he met David and said to him, "Why are you by yourself and with no one accompanying you?" David replied to Ahimelech the priest, "The king instructed me to do something, but he said to me, 'Do not let anyone know the reason I am sending you or the instructions I have given you. I have told my soldiers to wait at a certain place. Now what do you have at your disposal? Give me 5 loaves of bread or whatever can be found." The priest replied to David, "I don't have any ordinary bread at my disposal. Only holy bread is available, and then only if, if your soldiers have abstained from relations with women." David said to the priest, "Certainly women have been kept away from us, just as on previous occasions when I have set out. The soldiers' equipment is holy, even on an ordinary journey. How much more so will they be holy today, along with their equipment?" So the priest gave him holy bread, for there was no bread there other than the bread of presence. It had been removed from before the Lord in order to replace it with hot bread on the day it had been taken away. One of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg the Edomite, who was in charge of Saul's shepherds. David said to Ahimelech, "Is there no sword or spear here at your disposal? I do not have my own sword or equipment in hand due to the urgency of the king's instructions." The priest replied, "The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you struck down in the valley of Elah, is wrapped in a garment behind the ephod. If you wish, take it for yourself. Other than that one, there's no sword here." David said, "There's nothing like it. Give it to me." So on that David arose and fled from Saul. He went to King Akish in Gath. The servants of Akish said to him, "Isn't that David, the king of the land? Isn't he the one that they sing about when they dance, saying, 'Saul has struck down his thousands, but David his 10,000s'?" David thought about what they said, and he was very afraid of King Akish of Gath. He altered his behaviors in their presence. He was in their power. He pretended to be insane, making marks on the door of the gate and letting his saliva run down his beard. Akish said to his servants, "Look at this madman. Why did you bring him to me? Do I have a shortage of fools so that you have brought me this man to display his insanity in front of me? Should this man enter my house?" Okay, so David flees, and he goes to Ahimelech, the priest in Nob. Ahimelech was shaking with fear when he met David and said to him, "Why are you here by yourself with no one to accompany you?" So the priest is troubled by David's presence. We'll notice as we go through the story that it says the ephod is there. The sword of Goliath is hidden behind the ephod. Why doesn't the priest use the ephod and inquire of God? Why doesn't the priest inquire of God over David, or why David is there in any regards? He's shaking in fear at the presence of David. I wonder if he knows that Saul has tried to kill him. Now David is here. I mean, we don't know how far widespread the news that Saul wants David is killed. Is it just among a few that are the ones who are commanded to do it? Is it widespread throughout the land? I don't know. But David replies to the priest, "The king instructed me to do something, but he said to me, 'Don't let anyone know the reason I am sending you or the instructions I have given you. I have soldiers. I told my soldiers to wait in a certain place. Now, what do you have at your disposal? Give me 5 loaves of bread or whatever it can be found.'" So he is asked point blank, and David lies. I don't think we need to sugarcoat this at times when someone in Scripture lies. Okay, we have this thought, this idea that all lies our sin. I don't think that's what we have. We have, do not bear false witness against your neighbor. So taking advantage of someone else is what we have. Is it a good lie or a bad lie? I think, like people say, white lies, okay? I don't think that's a bad thought. We have a spot of tea, Fenris. Earl Grey all day, baby. Earl Grey all day today. A spot of tea, spot of tea. Thank you, friend. We also, when Jesus is talking about this situation, he doesn't berate David for having lied. He talks about David having been given the bread and having eaten the bread as a reasonable thing to have done, regardless of what it said he should or shouldn't do. So we have David straight up lying, and we have no judgment in the text anywhere that says anything about it. We have the Hebrew midwives who straight up lie to Pharaoh. And we have nothing said bad about their doing it. Deception for protection of oneself and deception for the protection of others seem not to be in this classification of lying. Sorry, you must tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So if you are smuggling people out of a country and protecting them from being killed for their faith, you have to confess you have them. No one believes that logic. Okay, for the protection of innocent people, for the protection of yourself, it seems that it is justifiable to lie. There's nothing in here in this text, in the reading of it, or later that tells us David did wrong in lying. Replying to Papsio, you're everywhere. Yep. Sometimes people are everywhere. Okay, so he says, do you have any bread? I'm on a secret mission. The reason I had to come in haste, he's making a lot of excuses here. A lot of reasons to give the priest a reason to go to the ephod and to inquire of the ephod, if he has the Humim and the Thummim, to inquire with them as well. The priest says, I don't have any ordinary bread at my disposal. Only holy bread is available, and then only if your soldiers have abstained from relations with women. So this would have made you unclean. So you would have had to have been made clean and set apart. David said to the priest, certainly women have been kept away from us, just as on previous occasions when I set out. So yes, we sanctify ourselves properly, and our equipment is holy. The things, our weapons, our vessels, everything we have on us is holy. We are set apart. When we go out to battle, we do the proper things. We purify ourselves before going out to battle. How much more on this holy thing that we are doing are we going to be set apart? So the priest gave him holy bread, for there was no bread other than the bread of presence. Okay, so the bread of presence, there is bread of presence that is also always supposed to be on the table. And then it gets replaced, okay? And only the priests are supposed to eat this. It has been removed from before the Lord in order to replace with hot bread on the day it was taken away. So this isn't the bread sitting there. The bread isn't being stolen from being in the presence. The bread of presence is still there. This is the bread that was replaced. It's still available. But we also learned one of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg the Edomite. So from one of the other clans of Abraham, so he is Esau clan. I wonder what Doeg means. Doeg the Edomite. So we are in 1 Samuel 21. 21. His name is Feigning. That is so weird. His name is Feigning. What is the priest's name then? Ahimelech. Let's go ahead and look up the priest. Shoot. Ads came in and I missed it. Sorry, everyone. So Doeg means fearing. So Feigning the Edomite. His name was Feigning the Edomite. So the priest is very fearing, and the man from Edom name is Feigning. He's in charge of Saul's shepherds. So he has come here. He's an Edomite in charge of Saul's shepherds. That's an interesting connection there. Okay, anyway, so we have the little tidbit of there's a spy here. David said to Ahimelech, there is no sword or spear at my disposal. I didn't take my equipment due to the urgency of the king's instruction. I didn't even have the time to go get stuff. I had the instructions, and we had to leave. Another sus thing that sounds really sus that, you know, maybe he should go inquire of God about. The priest replied, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you struck in the valley of Elah, is wrapped in a garment behind the ephod. Why does this just happen to be the place where Goliath's sword is? So Goliath's sword is here? If you wish to take it, it's yours. Other than that, I have no sword. David said, there's nothing like it. Give it to me. So on that day, David arose and fled from Saul. He went to the king Akish of Gath. So he is going to Goliath's hometown. He is going to Gath. This does not make sense to me. You just got handed to you the sword of Goliath, and now you're going, and there's nothing like it. This is one of a kind. And now you're going to the king of Gath, where Goliath is from, whom you killed. Does anyone else see that this makes no sense? This makes no sense. The servants of Akish said to him, "Isn't that David, the king of the land?" So the praise about him makes the people of Philistines think he's the king. Saul has struck down his thousands. David has 10,000s. We hear this song, and he must be king. Isn't he the one they sing about and they dance? David thought about what they said, so now he becomes afraid of the king of Akish of Gath. He alters his behavior in this presence. Since he was in their power, he pretended to be insane, making marks on the door of the gate and letting his saliva run down his beard. Do we have any judgment about this? This is also a deception. He is pretending to not have his faculties. He is scratching at the doorpost. He's got saliva running down his beard. This is a guy, why would you want to hang out with him? Why would you want to associate with him? No. He also has the sword of Goliath. Okay, so he is again being deceptive here. No judgment is made in the text about it. Akish said to the servants, "Look at this madman. Why did you bring him to me? Do I have a shortage of fools? So that you have brought this man to display his insanity in front of me. Should this man enter my house? Do you want me to bring a guy like this in my house that doesn't have all his faculties, So again, though, I will point out he was very afraid of King Akish of Gath. Why is David suddenly afraid of the king? He has been fearing God. He hasn't been fearing the Philistines. He did not fear Goliath. Why is he fearing the king? What has changed? Is something changing? Is this a problem? It doesn't identify it as a problem. It just simply says was very afraid of King Akish of Gath. So maybe feeling like this was not a good thing to do. I don't know. Not certain exactly what it is. All right, we'll keep going.